Hello guys, welcome to Shiva Arts. Today I will draw Shri Ram sketch. Let's begin. I Shri Ram. Here's a basic script for creating a shading drawing of Lord Shri Ram. Start by sketching the outline of Lord Shri Ram with a light pencil, using reference images or a picture for guidance. Use a medium pencil to lightly shade the areas of the drawing where the shadows will be the darkest. This will help you establish the contrast and overall tone of the shading. Use a softer pencil to add shading to the lighter areas of the drawing. Be sure to use a light touch to gradually build up the layers of shading. Pay attention to the direction of the light source and use the pencil strokes to follow the direction of the light. This will create a more realistic effect and give your drawing more depth. Use a blending tool such as a blending stump or your finger to smooth out any harsh lines and create a more even gradient of shading. Continue to layer and blend the shading until you are satisfied with the overall effect. Add any final details and highlights with a white pencil or eraser to bring out the contrast and create more depth in the drawing. Finally, sign and date your artwork, and you're done.
Drawing the neck can be a challenging task, but here are some steps that may help. Start by drawing the head and the shoulders to get a sense of the overall proportions and angle of the neck. Sketch a light line to represent the center of the neck. This line should be straight and follow the angle of the spine. Draw the shape of the neck muscles on either side of the center line. These muscles are called the sternrotsmuscles muscles, and they attach to the base of the skull and the top of the sternum. Add detail to the neck muscles by drawing the trapezius muscles that run from the base of the skull to the shoulders. These muscles give the neck its width and shape. Finally, add shadows and highlights to create depth and dimension. Use shading to show the curvature of the muscles and the contours of the neck. Remember to use reference images and practice regularly to improve your neck drawing skills.
All these white
Drawing jewelry with charcoal. Shiva Saxena. How to draw jewelry with charcoal pencil. 2. Drawing jewelry with a charcoal pencil can be a bit challenging, but with practice and patience, you can achieve some beautiful results. Here are some steps to help you get started. Gather your materials. You will need a set of charcoal pencils ranging from hard to soft, a drawing paper, an eraser, and a fixative spray. Choose your subject to select the jewelry piece that you want to draw. It could be a ring, necklace, bracelet, or earrings. Study your subject to observe the details of the jewelry piece. Look at its shape, texture, and any reflections or shadows it might cast. Start with a light outline and use a hard charcoal pencil to sketch a light outline of the jewelry piece. This will help you establish the proportions and overall shape of the object. Add shading to start adding shading to your drawing using the softer charcoal pencil. Pay attention to the highlights and shadows of the piece. Use a kneaded eraser to remove any excess charcoal and create highlights. Add details once you have established the shading. Start adding more details to your drawing. Use a sharp charcoal pencil to create lines and textures. Use a fixative spray when you are satisfied with your drawing. Use a fixative spray to prevent smudging and preserve your work. Remember, drawing jewelry with charcoal pencil requires patience and practice. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and keep practicing until you achieve the desired result.
Close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll go.
Drawing a garland is a fun and simple activity that can be done in just a few easy steps. Here's one way to draw a garland. Start by drawing a line to represent the top of your garland. This line will be the main string that the garland will hang from. Next, have circles or ovals along the line to represent the individual leaves or flowers of the garland. You can vary the size and shape of these circles to make the garland look more interesting. Once you have drawn your first row of circles or ovals, draw another row of circles or ovals just below the first row. Make sure that the circles or ovals in the second row are slightly offset from the ones in the first row, so that the garland looks more three-dimensional. Continue adding rows of circles or ovals until you have created a garland of the desired length. Finally, you can add some details to your garland to make it look more festive. You might want to draw some tiny stars, boughs, or other decorations hanging from the garland. You can also color in the garland using markers or colored pencils to give it a more vibrant look. Remember, garlands can be made with a variety of materials, such as flowers, leaves, paper, and more. So feel free to get creative and experiment with different shapes and colors to make your garland. Drawing clothes can be challenging, but with practice and the right techniques, it can be a fun and a rewarding process. Here are some steps to help you get started. Start with a basic sketch of the figure before you start drawing clothes. It's important to have a basic sketch of the body you want to dress. A stick figure or a basic outline of the body to use as a guide for the clothes. Decide on the type of clothes you want to draw. Different types of clothes have different shapes, textures, and details. Decide on the type of clothing you want to draw, such as a shirt, pants, dress, or jacket. Observe real-life clothes or look at reference images. Look at real-life clothes or reference images to get an idea of how clothes should look. Pay attention to the folds, creases, and textures of the fabric. Draw the basic shape of the clothes. Start with the basic shape of the clothing item, using your sketch of the body as a guide. Use simple shapes and lines to define the overall shape of the clothes. Add details and textures. Once you have the basic shape of the clothes, start adding details and textures. Pay attention to the folds, creases, and wrinkles in the fabric. Add buttons, zippers, pockets, and other details as needed. Shade and color the clothes. Use shading and color to give the clothes dimension and texture. Pay attention to the lighting in the scene and how it affects the color and shading of the clothes. Practice and experiment. Drawing clothes takes practice and experimentation. Try different techniques and styles to find what works best for you. Remember, the key to drawing clothes is to pay attention to the details and textures of the fabric. With practice and patience, you can create realistic and detailed clothing drawings. Drawing a bow and arrow can be done in several steps. Here is one method. Draw the bow. Start by drawing a straight line that will be the center of the bow. Then draw two curved lines on either side of the center line, making sure they are symmetrical. The curves should be smooth and even. Add the details. Draw a small circle at each end of the bow where the string will be attached. Then draw two diagonal lines from the center of the bow to each end to give it a more three-dimensional look. Finally, add some texture to the bow by drawing small lines or dots along the curves. Draw the arrow. Draw a long, thin line for the shaft of the arrow. Then draw a triangle at one end for the arrowhead. Draw a small notch at the other end of the arrow where the bowstring will fit. Add the fletching. Draw two or three feather-like shapes at the back end of the arrow opposite the arrowhead. These are called fletching and help stabilize the arrow in flight. Draw the bowstring. Draw a thin, curved line connecting the two ends of the bow, passing through the notches in the arrow. Make sure it's tight and looks like it's under tension. Shade and color. Add shading and color to your drawing to give it depth and realism. You can also experiment with different colors and patterns for the bow and arrow to make them unique. And there you have it, your own bow and arrow drawing.